Minister of Transport Barbara Creecy wants the air traffic navigation services to urgently deal with frequent flight delays. Last week, ATNS suspended procedures for all instrument navigation flight approaches at airports in George, Kimberley, Polokwane, Mthatha and Richards Bay indefinitely. For an update on this, I'm joined by Collen Msibi, Transport Department's spokesperson. Collen, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Take us through that urgent meeting. How did it come about? I hope so to just the minister maybe having her flight delayed and thinking and saying, enough of this. What happened? Come all of you into a meeting.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Vuyo, and to your viewers as well. Look, the meeting, it was really necessitated by the impact of these delays in terms of the traveling public, the passengers, one, but also it has an impact on the economy of the country. We must admit that. So it was very, very important for her to convene this oversight meeting so that she can have a sit down. By the way, all the aviation entities that report to transport were there. So it was important to say, how do we resolve this problem? Tell us this, the solution. And hence the resolutions that were taken in the meeting. So it wasn't a brainwave or maybe the flight was delayed and therefore thought that we needed to have a meeting. It was really engineered by the fact that this has a huge impact in the country as a whole.
Of course, I mean, I was saying that with my tongue firmly in my cheek, but is she any wiser now as to why we have so many flights delayed at our airports?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm saying, is she any wiser now as to why we have so many flights delayed at our airports?
Well, that's one of the issues where she has said that they need to get to the bottom of this problem, the root cause of this problem. Up to so far, the explanation we've had is that the issues of the updating of the instrument procedures, it was impacted by, one, the COVID-19 situation. But secondly, there's issues of the poaching of technical experts that we have as a country in terms of aviation. So which simply means that you don't have enough capacity to deal with the problem that you have. So that's been what has been advanced to the minister. But this comprehensive plan that she's talking about must then explain exactly what is the root cause of all these issues. We would understand that in terms of the aviation standards, the ICAO, which is the international body on aviation, expects each and every country to update their instrument every 5 years. And we're talking about over 300 procedures that which are at stake at this point. Not all of them, I must say, are affected in this regard. So there are specific ones that have been suspended, which is the work that is now being done to ensure that they are being updated. So it is the work that is gonna need some money, needs the technical expertise, but it also needs the actual realistic timeframes in terms of as to how far it can go in terms of updating these instruments.
One would imagine that some airlines have more or better capacity than others, which could mean that there's a bit of, in addition to perhaps skills may well be part of it, but tardiness on the part of airlines. Isn't that a factor as well?
Well, honestly, I can only speak on what is in our line of sight at the moment, which is currently what we know is the issues of instrument procedures in terms of landing and takeoff and approaching. So that's basically what we're looking at this point. So the jury is out in terms of ATNS having to then tell us, is there any other thing that we do not know about this particular problem? And that is why it is important. We've given them until next week to have this plan on the table of the minister for consideration. And I think out of that, we'll then be able to know what other factors that are at play at this point. So we should be able to, the minister has said, once we have the plan on our table, it will be shared with the aviation industry and the nation as a whole, so that everybody are all on the same page, because this problem continues to happen. We should be all on the same page in terms of what is it that the ATNS is doing to be able to resolve this particular problem.
Well, the reason I was asking that question is because, I mean, some airlines, this is from a consumers' experience, some are better at it, much better actually, than others. I mean, some even boast about it, whereas others, you know for sure that if it's airline X, you're almost guaranteed a delay.
Look, in terms of what's happening in the industry, that's above my pay grade in terms of having to respond, expect opinion on that. But I think I would respond in terms of basically, as I've said, what is within the shareholders' oversight. And really, that's the work that ATNS needs to do. And I think in this regard, we are quite concerned that it is affecting the economy. If there are other issues at play in terms of what happens with the airlines, I think it is a matter that there's BARSA, which deals with the issues of the airlines, and I think they should be able to deal with their own problems. But at this point, the headache and the sleepless nights that we have is about what is happening with these procedures that needs to be updated. And unfortunately, the CAA, the minister has said, no corners must be cut in this regard. We need to ensure that the issues of safety, they come first. So you'd understand that the regulator also reports to us. And hence we are saying that we cannot compromise our standards just because they all report to us. So CAA has to do its work as it's supposed to do. For instance, we've had situations where ATNS has submitted some of these procedures and it goes to CAA and CAA says, no, there's other issues that we need to look at. For instance, in Polokwane, there was an issue of safety adjustments that needed to be done. And it was returned back to ATNS to say, you need to look at this matter before we can approve. So it went back. So it also shows the impartiality that is where when this work is being done by CAA, and which we appreciate. Hence, the minister has said no corners must be cut in this regard. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. But what is important, which is a bigger approach, is to see what this plan they're going to present, what does it say? And therefore, we'll take it from there as a Department of Transport.
Well, we'll see next week what that comprehensive plan is going to say. Collen Msibi, thanks very much for your time.